Georgia winning over Auburn 27-20. What a ball game. What a ball game. My heart can't hardly take this kind of stuff. But I'm glad that Georgia won this game. Did a little coaching from my recliner and tried to do everything I could do to help the Bulldogs win this game. But I got to be honest with you, I didn't do near as much to help Georgia win this game as Brock Bowers did. What a monster! What a monster second half for Brock Bowers. We're trying to get the final statistics for the University of Georgia. But what do you think about this game? I mean, it's pretty amazing that Georgia goes into Auburn and has this kind of game that had us all on edge. And but Georgia is able to come out with a victory today over Auburn. Final score, of course, 27-20. Carson Beck, maybe it could very well be that Carson Beck now has elevated himself to where he needs to be. He already has the coaches and the teams, but the fans, we're kind of iffy on Carson Beck. What a great game he had today. 23 of 33, 313 yards and a touchdown, one interception. A great game for Carson Beck. For Brock Bowers, 8 receptions, 157 yards, and a touchdown. I mean, seriously, what a great second half for Brock Bowers. And I agree, often, we kind of listen, a lot of people are down on Gary Danielson, the CBS commentator, and they really don't like Gary Danielson. And he kind of grates on you a little bit. And it does seem in the past that he had a little anti-Georgia bias, and that's probably our perception and not the reality, but it's what we perceive as Georgia fans. But he was absolutely correct when he made the statement in the broadcast that Brock Bowers should receive consideration for the Heisman. He's a dude. In fact, at the end of the game, one of the Auburn players came up to Brock Bowers, and you could read lips. And the guy walked up to Brock Bowers, one of the Auburn players, and said, "Man, you're a dude." So, what a great game for Georgia. Brandon, I think Carson has officially come out of his shell. Yeah, I think so. Uh, this is, kind of mirrors the Missouri game from last year. Georgia playing a team that Georgia had much more talent than but they were really up on their home turf. That was true for Auburn today. Kind of mirrored that game from Missouri last year. But what a great game for Georgia. Now, I got to be honest with you. Listen, you think, okay, Georgia has all of this talent. They have a superior talent than Auburn. Auburn's been, hasn't played very well. Even though they have, the record they haven't really been, a team that's shown that they have a lot on their roster, especially on the offensive side. But when you go on the road in the SEC, I don't care who you are, and you're, the number one team in the country, you're two-time defending national champions, and the whole city of Auburn, that whole side of Alabama, going crazy for several days in anticipation of this game. And Georgia making some mistakes, having some turnovers that gave life to the Auburn Tigers. Georgia not playing particularly well on defense. The first time Georgia has given up 200 yards rushing in I don't know, since 2017, I think, was the comment. So Georgia not playing particularly well, or at least up to the standard that you expect from a Georgia defense. When you go on the road, it's just tough. It's just tough. And Georgia was able to go into Auburn. They faced some adversity, and they were able to win this game, 27-20. Congratulations to the Georgia Bulldogs, and congratulations to the Auburn Tigers. They played with a lot of heart. They played above their heads. They took advantage of, some mistakes by Georgia. And I got to tell you, Hugh Freeze is a good football coach. He's a very good football coach. He's a good recruiter. He's a good X's and O's kind of guy. So, you give Hugh Freeze a couple of years or so, and Auburn, they're going to be tough. They're going to be tough to handle. But what a great day, a game for the University of Georgia today. What do you think? Amber says, "Yep, we got her done. we did, didn't we? We got it done." Now, if they had lost, it would be what in the world is wrong with them, not us. Um, Georgia gets her done. I think if we can make a statement next week against Kentucky like we did against Arkansas 2 years ago, I think they'll find their identity. I think so, Brandon, I think you got a point. Kentucky winning today, big time over Florida. Kentucky making a statement at home against the Florida Gators. Florida beating Tennessee. Florida riding kind of high from that victory. Florida having some, visions that, hey, we're well on the way back. We can be competitive in the East. Maybe we can challenge Georgia. Then they go into Lexington, and Kentucky just dismantles them in a big time way. Now Georgia will return home to Sanford Stadium and take on Kentucky. Now the question is Georgia going to still be the number one team in the country when they come back? And we'll check some of our scores for today as we kind of refresh things here and check some of the scores from college football today. Right now, Ole Miss is beating LSU, by the way, 21-13. You might be aware of that. Missouri beat Vanderbilt 31-20. Texas is pretty much taking care of Kansas 40-14. So Texas is, poised perhaps to continue to march toward trying to see anybody else in the top five. Michigan beat Nebraska today, 45-7. Southern Cal beat Colorado 48-41. Penn State beat Northwestern 41-13. Again, Kentucky beat Florida 33-14. Checking some other scores, and I think that's pretty much it. So Michigan had a big win today over Nebraska. Georgia with this big win against Auburn, big rival game, of course. So what do you think? What do you think about this? Is Georgia going to continue to be the number one team in the country? It's the AP poll, and it's a poll that people pay attention to. It has, it has, some status as a poll. The real poll you want to look at is the college football playoff poll, and that will not be coming out for another couple of weeks or so. So is Georgia going to continue to be number one? Will Michigan replace Georgia as the number one team in the country? We'll have to wait and see. Yep, had a big heart attack. We almost had a heart attack today. Jimbo says no, Georgia will not continue to be the number one team in the country. We'll just have to wait and see. What a game! What a game! Too close for comfort. When you get some age on you, you don't want to have to fool with stuff like this. We're trying to refresh our stats here to get the final stats. Let's see. Georgia had 420 yards offense today to Auburn's 307. Georgia had 2 turnovers. Auburn had 1. Georgia had 19 first downs. Auburn had 17. For the team stats, here's the thing. Auburn had 219 yards rushing against Georgia today. That is the first time since I think maybe 5 or 6 years that a team has had more than 200 yards rushing against a Georgia defense. So Georgia's got some work to do as far as trying to contain the rushing attack of other teams. Georgia had 107 yards rushing. Georgia 313 yards passing, again from Carson Beck. Auburn had 88 yards passing. Georgia had 19 first downs again, and Auburn had 17 first downs, 17 first downs. So again, Brock Bowers. I mean, he came alive in the second half. 8 receptions, 157 yards, and 1 touchdown. So is who has Michigan played? I to be honest with you, I can't remember right off the top of my head who Michigan has played. I think they've had, some a lighter schedule, a light schedule. I don't really think Michigan is going to be playing a team maybe in the top 20 until they meet Ohio State coming up. I don't think so. And that'll be coming up soon. So who knows? A lot of touting for Florida State. Um, could Texas with a big win today? Will Georgia remain the number one team in the country? That really is a secondary question. Um, Brandon says no one in top 10 has proven to beat us out of the number one spot. Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, I suspect that Georgia will continue to be the number one team in the country. They may not have the margin over Michigan that they've had for the last few weeks, a couple of weeks or so. Michigan may gain on them. Texas may gain on them. I suspect Georgia with this win, knowing that it's a rivalry game, knowing that it's on the road in the SEC, and just seeing how Georgia came back in the second half, you know, with the fumble on the first play of the second half, and then what appeared to be a fumble on the second play of the second half, which was then overturned. That call was overturned, and it was ruled that Dejon was down, and it was not a fumble. With that fumble, I thought, oh well, here's the thing: the fumbles will get you beat in these kind of rivalry games, but Georgia to recover from that. The defense didn't play badly. Georgia's defense did not play, overall badly. They played all right, but they were playing a weak offensive team in Auburn. They made Auburn's offense look better than it should have looked. So anyway, Georgia with a win. So that's the important thing. So we can all relax now and watch some good football tonight and enjoy the rest of today and get ready for the Kentucky Wildcats rolling into Sanford Stadium. And they hopefully, and we're sure that Sanford Stadium is going to be rocking. Kentucky's going to be shopping for they're undefeated, going to be, they're ranked in the top 25. So Kentucky's going to be coming, and Mark Stoops, a good football coach, and he'll have them ready. But I think, this is the kind of game that may really just say, okay, we're a good team, and we can win these games. I think this is a confidence building victory for Georgia, and I think this victory will give Georgia a lot of confidence. And I think also this victory will do something for Carson Beck, who played very well in the second half. It will do something for him in the offense. I think there are a lot of positives that come out of this victory for Georgia. And of course, you always get positives from a victory, but I think maybe between the ears, there's going to be some positives that will be reflected in the weeks to come for Georgia. So Georgia stays on course. The next game you want to win it. You want to win it, and Georgia won it. A big SEC victory, and a big SEC victory, a rival game, and it was tough. Hey, but it was enjoyable. I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoy it much more better now that Georgia has won, and I know if you're a Bulldog fan, that's the same for you as well. All right, that's going to be it for us. We'll be trying to get in touch with you this week, talk some more about Georgia, and look forward to Kentucky, and we'll be ready to go next Saturday. So thank you for being with us, and